I welcome you all to today's episode of the Time with the Dietitian webinar series. I'm Mrs. Abigail Kwarting, an administrator at the Care University Wellness Center, and I'll be your moderator for today. So today, as we all know, this year, the Care University, please, can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. So this year, the Care University Wellness Center, we are on a journey of ensuring that we have a reduced work-related stress, and that is the theme for KNUST in general. And so all that we are doing is to ensure that as much as possible, we help give education on how to reduce stress. And so if you've seen how our webinars and our education trend is going, if you follow, you realize that all that we are doing is to ensure that stress will be reduced, if not eliminated. So today's session, we are going to talk about nutrition and stress. And to help us is our own Reverend Prince Baidoo. And so I would want to say a little about him before he comes in. So Reverend Prince Baidoo is a registered dietitian and a wellness consultant. He leads the dietary unit of the Tema General Hospital and co-manages the hospital's wellness center. Reverend is a governing board member of the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, responsible for practice standards and accreditation of members. He holds an MPhil in dietetics from the University of Ghana and a BSc in biochemistry from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. So he's from our own university. He holds a postgraduate certificate in nutrition and changing global environment from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, Rehovot. Reverend has been working with the Ghana Health Services for the past 14 years. He runs regular nutrition outreaches campaigns for schools, corporate organizations, and social groups. He's so passionate about nutritional health and wellness of individuals with diet-related diseases, as well as general public. His professional goal is to ensure that every food on the plate or bowl or drink in the glass or cup of his patients or audiences is healthy. So we are in safe hands today. He runs therapeutic cookery seminars for hospital, catering department, corporate organization, families, and individuals. And so today, the list goes on and on, but I would want to end here because of our time. So today, we are going to learn a lot from Reverend. So Reverend, your audience, please.
All right. Good afternoon, Abigail, and good afternoon, all. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Okay. Please, can you see the slides?
Yes, we can, Reverend.
All right. Okay. So I would want to say a very big thank you to the management of KNUST Wellness Center. I think this is the second time I'm given the opportunity to share with your audience. And I'm most grateful. Yes, I'm most grateful. I want to say a special thanks to Prof. Ibokodro for this opportunity again. All right. So my duty is to take us through nutrition and stress. Also, in my in the understanding I had is to successfully create the link between nutrition and stress, and how we can help ourselves with our nutrition in terms of what we eat and drink to be able to manage or reduce, if not eradicate totally, stress. So I will be, this is my outline. I will be giving a short introduction. Then we will talk about a little about stress. Then the various foods that promote stress. We'll discuss them. We'll talk about the foods that help us manage or reduce stress, and we will end by talking about what lifestyle or which lifestyle must we develop to be able to manage stress, because we will realize that stress is always with us, and how can what we eat and drink help us, and then we'll conclude. So I'll quickly take us through the introduction. So you see, nutrition, it's something that is always with us, and whether the person is fasting, whether the person is that doesn't even have enough resources, by some means the person will eat or drink. So the eating and drinking is part of us, and it's part of our human experience. And when we talk about nutrition, we are talking about the fact that the nutrition is a huge field. Is the expanse is very wide. So all the biochemical and physiological processes by which an organism uses food so that the life will be supported is all nutrition. But in our case, in our context here, we will be looking at nutrition in terms of eating to supply the nutrients your body requires for growth and maintenance. So whatever we need for the brain to work, the muscle, bones, nerves, our skin, the blood circulation, immune system, and our growth. That's what we are looking at, because stress, even though it is also wide, we are saying nutrition is wide, but stress may be wider, and many definitions have been given. I leaned towards the definition of Lazarus and Folkman. Most of the definitions we have now emanated from the work they did in 1984. So we realize that stress occurs when a person perceives the demands of an environmental stimuli to be greater than their ability to meet or alter or change the demands. So this is what stress is about. And it has two main legs or two main facets. The stressors, that is what we usually will refer as the external happenings. So is there loss of job? Is there death? Is there divorce? Is there has someone gotten a new job? Or that they all present one level of stress or the other. So we have the externals and then the internals, what we will refer to as the stress response. So what the mind, the emotions, and what our hormones, our enzymes, and all that will come together to marshal forces to overcome the external happenings that have instigated what we are referring to as a stimulus, which the body is managing to overcome. So we see two key fields: nutrition. We see stress, which is usually in the domain of psychology, but we see that stress has a lot more in terms of the medical outlook of us, of the individual who is stressed, depending upon the level of stress the person bears. So we have seen a link between stress and diabetes, stress and obesity, stress and high blood pressure, stress and heart disease, stress and skin diseases, and also depression. And even we have seen it, a relation between stress and menstrual problems. So it is something that we have to look at and see how our day-to-day life and the usual experiences we have, such as nutrition, can help in this regard. Because if we don't manage it well, then we are likely to have these conditions that I've mentioned. So we have seen that there's a link between nutrition, wellness, and because of that, this presentation is going to bring us the understanding of how we can use the knowledge we have in nutrition to solve or reduce our stress levels or the dire effect that stress can bring to us. So I want us to draw our attention to a scorecard or a score sheet that Holmes and Ra, they call it the Holmes and Ra stress scale. This was developed by two psychiatrists in somewhere in 1967. And it's been a useful scorecard to just give us an idea of how our stress dose or stress levels may be. And once we get the idea, then it tells us that we would have no other options but to stick strictly to nutritional practices that will help us to overcome these levels of stress we have. So they identify 35 occurrences or happenings that in our daily lives, and they gave them various stress values, with the spousal death having 100, then up to the 35th occurrence having the lowest. So we see here that they assign 100 units of stress to a spousal death if someone loses a spouse, and they assign 73 to divorce. When there's marriage separation, 65. Then they assign 53 to personal injury, and if there's a marital problem and there's marital reconciliation, they assigned 45. And they assign 44 for change in health of a family member. So somebody gets sick in the family, and it adds to our stress dose. So we see here pregnancy, sex difficulties, gain of new family member, business adjustment, change in financial state, death of a close friend, change to a different line of work, change in the number of arguments with spouse, change in responsibilities at work, son or daughter leaving home, outstanding personal achievements. All of them bring their levels of stress. So we see the 35th one, vacation or leave, that we are supposed to take and rest. It also comes with its own stress. So when we look at all these things that happen to us, and we relate them to the various scores that have been assigned, the total scores have been interpreted as follows. So Holmes and Ra gives 0 to 150 units as not having any predictable risk of illness or accident if you find yourself within 0 to 150. If you are between 150 and 199, you have they put you within mild life crisis. It means that your stress level is beyond the dose that could be managed by us. That will not push you into ailment or sickness. Then 200 to 299, we say you are in moderate life crisis. Then above 300, we said you are in a major life crisis. So we see that there is a link between our well-being and our stress level. And because of that, if we are talking about how nutrition can help, I think we are in the right company. So we see that stress has whenever a person is stressed, we have some hormonal occurrences in the body. So the epinephrine, what we refer to as adrenaline, once any stressor, all the outside occurrences we just looked above by the 35 occurrences, you see that it happens to us. We go through them every time, and they put a dose of stress on us. So during these experiences we are having a release of adrenaline, release of epinephrine, and then which will result in our heart beating fast, our lungs closing and opening, or constricting and relaxing very fast, so that the body can put itself together to deal with the stresses that are coming in. We see that glucose is released, fatty acids are released also from the temporary stores of the body. And if the stress is not a low level stress, but it's an extended stress, we have cortisol being released as a result of the hormonal actions as well. Now, these hormones that are helping the body to fight off the stress, their levels in the body and the extent of time they remain in our system bring about a lot of issues. So the hypertension, the heart disease, and diabetes, obesity, and all that we spoke about, we realize that when these hormones working in tandem with the various enzymes and all that to help the body overcome whichever stress it is, the offshoot of it bring about inflammations, and they also could lead to activation of other processes of the body, resulting in fat accumulation and also malfunction of some organs. Because we have already said that the stress is part of our human experience, and because the fighting of it by the body also leaves us with remnant or substances in the body that can also lead us to be sick, it is important that whatever we can do to be able to reduce the effect of the work or the body's natural ability to overcome stress and also external influences, we must do them as much as possible. And as I have said, nutrition plays key role because we eat every day, we drink every day, and it is important that if we have any intervention to make, we turn our eyes to nutrition to see, in addition to all other opportunities available for us to reduce stress. So, having said this, we see that there are some foods that promote stressful situations. So, whilst external factors have come and the body internally is responding to it and has released a lot of hormones and a lot of glucose and a lot of fatty acids in our bodies, as well as cortisol and all that, there are foods that also exacerbate these hormones and these actions. So refined carbohydrates such as white sugar and pastries, white bread and other pastries, cake, pies, samosa, and all the foods in that company, they have been linked to exacerbating inflammation in the body. They also disturb the microflora or the bacteria balance in our gut. So from our mouth to the anus, the bacteria that must be in fine balance, so they will help us with the digestion and absorption and all that of our foods. These foods have been found to create an imbalance, which can result in the conditions and the diseases we spoke about. For example, there has been a link between imbalance in the microbiome and also the occurrence of diabetes and other diseases as well. Right, so we have to watch these foods. That's why I've given it a red background. Refined carbohydrate, white bread. Sometimes when we talk about this, it's like, oh, but we are not sick now. We don't need to be sick. That's why this is being pushed by the wellness center. We need to protect ourselves from getting sick, because managing stress with nutrition in sickness becomes more a difficult job than when you are not sick. So maybe if you have any white bread there now, you have to think about what you would do with it, right? So, and pastries, they are not helpful. French fries and other fried foods. So we have our own potatoes. We have the Irish. We have the normal sweet potato. Please, let's cook them. Let's cook them. If you want to fry them and you want to use, you use an oil that is not reusable or that has not been used already, yes, you can do it and prepare it at home. But the way we prepare French fries, the sodium content in it is high and it is soggy. It has quite an amount of fat, and it has been linked to promoting stressors or stress response, worsening the situation for us. So we see also sugar-sweetened beverages. Now our country is in trouble we have a lot. Bottled water companies and sachet water companies have all turned into sugar-sweetened beverage companies, coming up with several soft drinks with various colors and various amounts of sugars. So they actually, sugar-sweetened beverages have been linked to diabetes long ago, and not that they have also been seen to increase inflammation in the body. So it really causes a lot of issues for us in terms of our health. So it's important that we check our intake of sugar-sweetened beverages. They are poisons to us. And now that if you are not having any medical condition, if you are not sick at the moment, this is the time to make a decision to stop it, together with its raw sugars. Then we know red meat and fatty meat, and processed meat, so hot dogs, sausages, and now we are teaching our children to like hot dogs and sausages. Then when they grow, we will tell them that is not right. By then they would have formed the habit already. So some of us adults, we don't eat the sausages, but we give it to our children. We are causing more harm than good. So it is not good for both the adult and the child. So let's be aware of that these foods are red flags. So margarine, shortenings, and pig fat, lard. Several times when I'm on a call like this, or I'm giving a talk somewhere, somebody will ask, oh, if you are not to take meat, pork is fine, right? Because they said that lard is healthier. I don't know where that one came from, but pig fat or lard has also been linked to worsening stress response internally. So let's check it. If you are to take pork, then you are taking the lean cut, which one is the muscle, not with the fat. Alcoholic beverages. We've spoken a lot about alcoholic beverages. As we know, alcohol is not a nutrient. So if we are looking at the nutrients are chemical substances from foods that will provide us with energy and provide us with ability to build muscles and also help with hormonal and enzymatic processes. That when it is not present in the body, one becomes sick or lose function. So alcohol does not satisfy the second leg, that if it is absent from the body, you get sick or lose function. Because of that, we must be very, very cautious. If you are not taking alcohol already, the recommendation is not to take it at all. If you are already taking alcohol, speak to your dietitian, speak to your wellness consultant to come to an amount that will reduce your stress level. If you can stop it and you are taking it right now too, you can also avoid it, because it has been linked to several inflammatory processes in the body, and it also worsens a stressful environment. Sometimes when people are stressed, they take alcohol so that they can forget about the stress, but it worsens it, and they wake up from the stupor and the problem is still exaggerated. Caffeine at higher levels, as we see in teas and coffees, must be watched carefully, because it's also linked to worsening stress response. We know that some foods are helpful. Foods like tomatoes, coconut oil, olive, groundnut oils, green leafy vegetables as contombre, spinach, cassava leaves, boma, ayoyo, sweet potato leaves, and all the leaves we use around the green leafy vegetables have been found. They have a lot of potassium that calms the body. So it's very important that we include these in our food, because we have seen earlier that stress is with us, and every time the body is fighting off the stress. So you need to have stress busters that can really neutralize the impact it may have on the body going forward. So it's important that you include a lot of green leafy vegetables into your food, as well as nuts, groundnuts, almond, cashew, walnuts, and the various nuts we have around. sesame seeds, black seed, flax seeds, all of them are helpful because of the antioxidant levels and also potassium levels. They are very helpful in managing or tapering down the effect of stress on our bodies. Oily fishes like herrings, mackerel, sardines, tuna, and salmon are also helpful in managing stress. Fruits such as watermelon, strawberries, yellow berries, the one we call yellow or ataba. Then we have the blueberries, cherries, soursop, and oranges. They help us. They help in managing. Legumes, as well as whole cereals and grains, are helpful. Starchy foods that are not processed and the chaff removed, they help us in managing stress. These are very important. Let's take note of these foods. And when we are putting foods together to make our meals, they must have these foods, not the previous. So having said this, we will go to how should our lifestyles be? What lifestyle must we build or develop? I show this figure, healthy eating food guide, to just give us an idea. So you see the steps we have here. We have we have the fruit and vegetables. So the first step, we have a lot of vegetables and fruits. Please, normally said, oh, eat healthy eating, eat fruits and vegetables. So we have a lot of people eating a lot of fruits and little or no vegetable in a day. Look at here. Let me see whether I can use the pointer. Yeah, so if you look at down here, you see that you have about 3/4 of the consumption of fruits and vegetables must be vegetables, and 1/4 must be fruit. So we say 2 servings of fruits and at least 3 servings of vegetables. Very, very, very important. So you have your contombre, your okra, garden eggs. Use them for your stews and soups. And if you have money and you can include the exotic ones, that is fine. Vegetables, we have enough indigenous vegetables in Ghana that if you don't have any of the exotic vegetables, you can still have your balanced meals every day. So it's very important. Then some fruits, your watermelon, oranges, soursop, you have your pineapples, mangoes, and all that. They are helpful. So most of your food, by the time you are sleeping, most of what you have eaten should have come from the down here, followed by here. So those of us who will be eating rice, fufu, banku, that occupies the entire plate or bowl, and just a teaspoon or 2 of pepper and a Bible-sized tilapia. That one is not a healthy meal outlook at all. Your food, you must have your okra soup, your contombre stew or your gardener stew with your banku or with your fufu, light soup and all that. If you're having bread, you're having the wholemeal bread, barley bread, or corn bread or wheat bread, whole wheat bread. They are healthier for us. Then, before you come to your animal and animal proteins, as well as the plant proteins, the legumes, with the dairy foods. Then, little of what we take must come from the oils. Must come from. So if you are preparing a stew and 60% of the stew is oil, you know that you've gone way beyond your healthy eating lifestyle. That should help you to overcome stress. So this is the picture we must have in mind when we are eating. So if you go and buy 2 tennis ball sizes of banku with 4 palm sizes of grilled tilapia or grilled mackerel, you have turned these steps upside down. The proteins are too much and the carbohydrates are too little, right? It should come from here. Most of it should be the soups and stews. Then your moderate intake. So I will summarize this picture in the next slide. But before I go, you see walk. Nutrition and exercise cannot be separated. And water intake cannot also be, because water is a key nutrient of the 6 nutrients we usually discuss under healthy eating. So your carbohydrates, fats, and oils, your proteins, your vitamins, minerals, and water. Clean water is very important. Drink as much as possible. If you're above 60 years, you may take up to 2 liters. If you are below 60 years, minimum of 3 liters a day should be fine. Then have some time to walk. Very important. Walking also helps with stress. It reduces stress because it releases serotonin and endorphins, which are positive hormones that rather helps manage stress. So walk is good, and it also helps with your digestion and utilization or metabolic process as well. So walking is good. So let's go to the next slide and see. So in fixing a healthy meal, most of the food that you eat every day must be from the vegetables and fruit cohort. More of your food must be carbohydrates. Moderate of the food must be proteins with legumes. Then meager or small of the food must come from the fat and oil stock. Now, so let me give a disclaimer here. This is the general recommendation for the general population. We may tinker with it one way or the other, depending upon the person in question and the medical condition. But this is the general framework within which the balanced meal is formulated. So, recommended portions. How much must I eat? Mr. Dietitian, you have spoken about healthy food. How do I bring them together? So you have brought your food together. You have made, or you have cooked rice. You have done garden egg stew or cabbage stew, and you are eating. And you are below 40 years. How must my plate or bowl look like? So here, 2 times a day, you must eat a third of your plate or your bowl must be of carbohydrate foods, protein foods, and vegetables. A third, vegetables and fruits. A third. So you divide your plate into 3. 1/3 is your garden stew, 1/3 is your rice, 1/3 is your fish or egg or lean cut meat. So you can do this maybe lunch or dinner or breakfast and supper. Then once a day, maybe this one I normally recommend, you can take it as lunch. Half of your plate could be carbohydrates, so half of your plate can be your rice. Then a quarter can be your vegetables, and a quarter can be your fish or your proteins. This is for those below 40 years. Once a day, half carbohydrates, a quarter protein, a quarter vegetables. After this, you can take your orange or take your mango or that, and you move on. Here, 2 hours a day, a third of your plate must be vegetables, a third should be carbs, a third should be proteins. If you are 40 years or between 40 and 60 years, this is how your plate must look like. A third of your food must be carbohydrate, a third must be protein, and a third must be vegetables and fruits. Then if you're above 60, half of your plate must be vegetables, a quarter must be proteins, a quarter must be carbohydrates. So other recommendations, you eat all your meals between 5 a.m. and 7 p.m. Between this period, you should have finished eating all your meals. Some of us may eat twice a day. If you want to divide your calories into 2 and eat morning and late afternoon or morning and evening, that is fine. Or if you are younger, you want to take it 4 times a day, you divide your food into small bits 4 times, but you follow the same portions as on your plate. Then if you are 60 and above, you know what to take. If you are below 40, you know what to take. If you are between 40 and 60, you know what to take. Between this period, let's conscientize our minds, put in our heart that this range helps us. This range helps us, unless otherwise stated by your dietitian or your wellness consultant. This is you eating at the rising of the sun, most of your food, and finishing your food before the sunset is what is recommended. Your meal interval must be 4 to 6 hours. And also your most of your water, the 2 liters minimum for those 60 years and above, and 3 liters minimum for those below 60, should be taken during the day. don't take most of your water at night because it disturbs your sleep, which also affects stress, which can affect your health as well. So what have I said so far? I said everyone has a level of stress. The higher the level, the higher the risk of health challenges. And there's an established link between nutrition and stress, as well as we discussed. Some foods make stress better, others make it worse. And we have looked at those foods that are red flags and those that are helpful. Then one can manage their stress well by having most of their foods as vegetables and fruit, more as whole carbohydrate sources, moderate as animal proteins and legumes, and meager as fats and oils. He said that drink most of your water in the daytime and eat all your meals between 5 a.m. and 7 p.m. So I'll end here and thank you for your audience. Abigail, over.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Reverend. Sorry about the late response. Thank you so much for teaching us a lot today. We have learned a lot, that we have some foods that help the work of stress hormones in us. Can you imagine that we've been eating certain foods that help the stress hormone to be released more, to multiply?
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, we would want to take questions from our audience. If anybody has any question, I think he has made it practical enough. And so I'm expecting a lot of questions from us. So if you have any question, you can raise up your hand, we will unmute you. Or if you also want to type in the box, you can also do that. I will help you read. So please, if you have any question, let's hear you.
I think Esther's hand is up.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think... Hi. Hello.
Hello.
So thank you very much for your insightful
Can we hear you?
Yes. Please, can you hear me now?
Yes. You are clear.
Thank you very much for your insightful presentation.
I can hear you.
Okay. I think one of the things I have to do is to discipline myself when it comes to my diet. Okay, so my question is this. You said to eat most of our meals when the sun is up, and then when it goes down, we have to reduce it. Is that the information I had? Is that correct?
Yeah, so the understanding is that your breakfast and lunch forms most of your meals. So by the time you are eating your last meal by 7 p.m., most of it is gone already. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm wondering if for us who are extremely busy, that I get up from bed and the first thing I'm thinking of is work. I mean, my work occupies my mind. So I end up eating my heavy meals at late hours. Like let's say around today, for instance, all through morning to this time, I've not eaten. I started feeling a bit hungry, and I'm sure I'm going to wait till like I get home. That will be around 5 to take in my really heavy meal to sleep. Does it have an impact on our emotional processes?
Okay. Can you give me the time again?
Around 5. I'll get to the house around 5.
Yeah.
And that'll be the time I have to really fill up. Like
you eat your main meal.
You see the thing. I didn't want to say it because of some people on the platform, but now that you've said it. Now that you've said it.
Okay, so this is what I would say. You said earlier that you would have to.
Does it have so my question is, does it have an impact on our emotional processes?
Yeah, so that's what I'm answering.
Thank you.
All right. So you see that you were talking about the fact that you seem to have high priority of the of your work. Your work is prioritized over your nutrition. I think if you can bring them at par, it will be helpful, because the healthy body is what works better. The healthy body works better. So if you will not be taking breakfast regularly, or you take breakfast late and take lunch and breakfast together, and that, you are likely to overindulge. So by the time you are eating at night, you are so at 5 o'clock or 6, you are very hungry. So you eat more than what the body can process within the processing time. And if the food that you have even eaten is not also healthy, then it worsens it. Okay, so talking about emotional processes, if the food you are taking is high salt, you are having high sugar and refined carbohydrates in that meal you are having, yes, you are likely to have an upsurge in inflammation, and that can affect your other processes in the body, which can affect your emotions, because emotions is linked to stress as well. So if your emotions are disturbed, then your stress level could rise as well. So it is possible. I don't know the content of the food you are eating, but for us to overcome it, we'll encourage you that eat in the morning, eat in the afternoon, eat in the evening, so that the meals you eat will not be too much at a go. That one will be helpful. Sometimes if you don't take care, it even affects your sleep. Because if the digestion doesn't take place early before you sleep, you see that you don't have smooth sleep pattern, and it can affect your emotional state because of your stress level. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend. I think we have some few questions in the Q&A session, and I would want to read them. Someone is asking that, can a person who is hungry have a high level of stress? Reverend, someone who is hungry.
Okay, so in this case, the external factor is hunger. We don't know whether hunger is external or internal. But what we can say is that when you are hungry, the body would have to shift into a survival mode, and you will see a lot of these hormones we are talking about that are released during the stress period. It's also released during the time. Yeah, so we can say that chronic hunger could release or increase the hormones that the body would have to release for survival. And in that case, we can say that yes, your stress level could be high.
Okay. Thank you, Reverend. So longevity, I hope your question is answered. He also says, if a person fails to eat all his meals between 5 a.m. and 7 p.m., what is the effect? I don't know if that one was answered when you were answering Mrs. question.
Answering. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I can emphasize that there are a lot of studies for meals that are eaten after 6, or let's say after 7. We do plus or minus 1. That's why we say between 5 and 7. But the meals that are eaten at this time, there are about 2 or 3 things that could happen. When you eat at that time when the sun is setting, because there's a lot of metabolic processes that are linked to the sun light, and when the sun is down, metabolic processes, some of them are shut down, so you have very limited or slowed metabolism. Even though the food will digest, absorption and usage of the food becomes an issue. That is number 1. Number 2, we also have the possibility of flooding your system with a lot of glucose. Because if metabolism slows down and you have a lot of glucose in your blood, and the absorption rate to your muscles is low, then you are likely to have insulin spikes. So your insulin levels will be going up and down to mop up all the excess glucose in the blood. So your body wants to keep you healthy. Now, we know that there's a link between insulin spike and heart disease. insulin spike, and generic body wellness. So if you normally eat late, it's not that maybe once a while you traveled, you came home late, you are very hungry, you ate or something, but just that your pattern is that your last meal is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If it continues, maybe when you are younger, it doesn't play out that early, but as you age 40 and above, you realize that you will have some issues with your health. So if it is regular and a pattern, yes, it can affect your health. If it is one-off, it may necessarily not affect your healthy eating plan. Yeah.
Okay, Reverend. Thank you. Dear Longevity, I hope your question is answered. So there's another one that Reverend needs to speak to. He says that early this year, he started having an abdominal weakness, even though he has been very active, especially through exercising. He visited the clinic only to be told that his white blood cells are low and that he needs to start taking fruits and vegetables. I'm sure he wants to know that he being active, why does he have his low blood cells, white blood cells very low? Yeah, I think that's what he wants to.
So if I understand his question, then it means that as per the assessment of the clinician who took care of him, his immune system is low. And if the immune system is low, I think they found that it's because of inadequate nutrition. That's how come I'm thinking that they're asking him to. But yes, so if you follow the healthy eating guide chart that I showed, you should be able to have enough. This is for you to build up your blood, for you to build up your immune system. It is a balanced meal. You need enough proteins, you need enough vitamins and minerals, you need enough carbohydrates, and that you also need to drink enough water. So it's a complete overhaul of your eating pattern. You must change how you've been eating. Maybe you are eating as and when you feel hungry. You are not so intentional about your eating, and even what you put together to be your meal, you may not have given a thought to it. Now, get to a dietitian, let them get you a plan, and follow it. I think it will help.
Okay, so Cletus, I hope you're. That is to say, Reverend, does it mean that we shouldn't exercise? The fitness is not in isolation, and it means that whilst we are exercising and lifting the weight and running and walking, we should be mindful what we eat, right, Reverend?
Exactly, and the exercise may not necessarily have played any role in the reduced immune system, right? So maybe the exercise might have even helped him a bit. If he were to be sedentary, it may have been even another matter. So he must not stop being active, but he must make sure that his nutrition lifestyle is good.
Okay, so he's asking a follow-up question. I don't know if he was there when we were doing the plates, but he said he has started eating it. He has started taking in the fruits and veggies, but he still hasn't regained the strength as former. How much of it, of the fruit and veggies, should he continue to take? Does he need to continue taking?
I think let us must come to the wellness center.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, must come to the wellness center for proper assessment, so that we can do the calculations and all that for him. Yeah, that would be my recommendation.
Okay, thank you so much. If we get to the point where we need to direct him to other people, so we will do that. Sure. So Bibi wants to know, in the evenings, if you are hungry, please, you are done eating and everything, can you take tea? I'm sure she's asking about Milo and things like that, or it's TT. Bibi, can you come clear? But Rev, as we wait, can you take something like Milo after you are done eating? You are even watching a movie, but you are hungry.
Yeah, so remember, we're talking about lifestyle. And
Yeah.
lifestyle, we must decide on how we want the lifestyle to be. Now, once you finish eating by 7, and once a while you take Milo, once a while you take tea, very soon you'll be taking Kenke, you'll be taking Banco. Because that is what you are letting your body know that after 7 you must eat again. So we don't recommend that. You see, when you take all your meals within that window and you actually ate well and all your energy has been obtained, then you should have everything your body requires, even if you sleep late. It is only psychological, because maybe you are used to eating late. When you begin to eat earlier, you realize that when the time 9 o'clock, you used to take something. When the 9 o'clock is up, your body will be playing some tricks with you to eat. But if you are determined to change that lifestyle and you resist it for 7, 14 days, 21 days, you'll be able to overcome it. Yeah.
Okay, my dear BB, please advise yourself. We have someone anonymous. They, please, I have been diagnosed to have neuropathy. Please, is it possible to restore my nerves back through lifestyle changes and nutrition? Is 35 years old now.
Okay, yeah. So the understanding I have is that this person is being managed by a neurologist or someone. So
I believe
there should be collaborative work. So if the person is being managed by the neurologist, yes, the dietitian can come in, the wellness expert can come in, then the teamwork can help him come out of it. Yeah, it's possible, and he's younger, so it's possible to have a restoration. Yes.
Okay, so the last question here says, please, can one follow this pattern for hormonal imbalance?
Hormonal imbalances, if you have been diagnosed, so is a wholly a medical diagnosis, which should be corrected with through medical means. So see your endocrinologist for that to be done. When it has been corrected, then you can follow this pattern to maintain it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Reverend. Please, is there any other question? Our time is up so that we can round everything up. Okay, so in the absence of any other question, we want to say thank you so much, Reverend Prince Baidoo, for coming in to have us know about our nutrition and stress, the relationship. We've learned a lot. In fact, I've heard for the first time that we shouldn't take our water, the chunk of our water intake shouldn't be in the evenings, because it will definitely disturb your sleep, and it will also bring about stress in the morning. So we want to say thank you so much. The KNUST Wellness Center is grateful, and we would also acknowledge the presence of Professor Mrs. Ibokodro, who is the chairperson. Our National Service Person Militant has posted our office line. Please, if you are away and can't come to the KNUST Wellness Center, which is situated adjacent the poolside, you can kindly give us a call, and then we will attend to you. We are there every day. The nutritionist is there every day from between the hours of 9 and 2 p.m. So you can come around. We also have a gym which you can take advantage of, register, and work holistically. So on this note, thank you very much, our audience, for coming. We are so grateful. Have a nice and wonderful day. May God be with us all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So bye for now. We meet again next month. We have another program coming up next month. So meet you next month. Thank you.